Gun touch, jump along, also known as shit man. I sat here and watched it unfold exactly how I planned it. When I sprayed those containers in Tamar Dar with the big word Jow, thief, I knew it would be temporary. I knew you would take my bait. And then you came along. You painted over the word thief. You raised that dirty flag and you wrapped the truth in nationalism. You climbed up onto those containers today like you'd done something powerful, something meaningful. But all you did was prove my point, because you cannot deny the truth. You try to bury it, and when you cannot bury it, you hide it behind a flag. And that is what this is. Not strength, and definitely not patriotism. It's a cover-up. A weak attempt by an imperialistic regime to mask what the world is already starting to see. You painted over one word, but you exposed everything. You are a state-funded puppet, and now you're my puppet. You played into my hands. You showed the world exactly how deep this runs. You showed how desperate the Thai deep state is to control the narrative, and you showed that truth, even spray painted onto containers, terrifies you. Because if it didn't, you would have just ignored it. Instead, you turned it into a global moment for worldwide diplomats to see that were there today, watching you act like a fool above those containers in Tamar Dar. So now I'm going to ask the Thai people directly. Is this how you want to be seen? Is this what you stand for? Covering up reality with flags while displaced families remain homeless just meters away. Is this what your flag stands for? Degraded into clickbait for you to all cheer along to? Because the world is watching now. And this right here is why voices outside this region are starting to speak up. Which brings me to this. I sat down today and interviewed a man running for United States Senate, John Deaton. And when I showed him what you've been doing, when I explained the reality on the ground, he didn't call it politics. He called it what it is. State-funded torture, war crimes. Take a listen to what he had to say. And gun touch, I'll be there soon. Thailand are now weaponizing social media influences, and they have throughout this conflict, to be fair. There's one particular guy that really, he's a racist, he supports imperialism, and the actions he's taken are quite frankly evil. First instance, this particular guy, his name's Gun Touch, he drove 14 sewage trucks to one of the disputed borders and was threatening to spray raw sewage over maybe 100 Cambodian villages that were elderly, children, farmers. That was his first social media stunt. Few weeks later,
that's a form of biological warfare.
Well, yeah, and it's torture.
You're spreading disease and infection and all of that. That you're killing people if you do that.
To be clear, he didn't do it, but he did drive the truck to the border. And the only way you can get to those areas on either side is with military support. Just to be clear, you need solid clearance to get into a hot zone. I know that from the 50, 60 times I've done it in the last 2 or 3 months.
And if you're driving those type of vehicles.
Then, several weeks later, I don't know if you've seen these lorries, trucks, full of speakers that Thailand are quite famous for. Massive rear wheels compared to the front, stupid looking things. But they're basically lorry-sized boom boxes.
Right.
He drove, I think, 4 of those to the border of a village and played ghost movie sounds, terror sounds, uh, to Cambodian villages from 12 midnight to 7 a.m. for 5 nights in a row. And on the Cambodian side, the reported sound level was over 100 decibels, which is akin to having a chainsaw going next to your ear. And then that was the first couple of days, and then it developed into projecting onto a makeshift cinema screen images of the genocide that Cambodia has developed onwards from 40 years ago, to remind the villagers of who they were, basically, was his opinion on that. And then more recently, he has been, I don't know if you saw, I sprayed some containers with the word Jiao, which means thief, and they're surrounding stolen land. He has gone to those containers now and is screaming and shouting at civilians. He's got, right now, today, he's standing atop these containers with Thai military soldiers either side of him who are pointing guns at civilians, taunting them, and he's painted over my graffiti and replaced it with signs and a big Thai flag. Well, like, just your opinion, John.
My opinion is that he's clearly the agent of someone in the government. I mean, that's what it screams. Obviously, like you said, you don't get access to those hot zones. You're bringing 14 sewage trucks or whatever it was. You don't have the soldiers on either side of you, pointing guns, being part of the intimidation. You're not allowed to bring he's being provided the resources, the opportunity to terrorize these villagers is what is happening. And so that is, it's a form of psychological warfare. And the question is, what is the motivation, and who's he acting as an agent for? How high up in the government or the military, something, because clearly he's acting at a minimum with the permission. At a minimum with permission. Possibly he's even being paid to do it. You know what I mean? Some form of compensation. So, but, what you just described is when you're talking about children and older people, that's a form of torture. It's a form of fear tactics. You're hearing these sounds at 2, 3 in the morning when you're trying to sleep. You're seeing visions of genocide. You're creating a trauma is what you're doing. You're creating trauma in real time, and I mean your opinion on why is probably you have more of a basis probably to opine on why this person, this influencer, this agent of evil, however label we want to give him. What's the true motivation behind it? Like, why terrorize these poor villagers? Like, what do you get out of that?